Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Got you. Hey, you're the Al Michaels of Canada. How about that? Because I read his book, and he goes, I live in L.A., but I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker, even though I live in L.A. You're a Winnipegger living in Toronto, and our Winnipeg viewers want your take on the Winnipeg Jets.
Now
History-making Winnipeg Jets.
There is a team that is rolling. The only thing I'm going to say is that you don't want to be the best team in December. It's good to be the best team right now. You know, you don't want to be the best team late November, early December. You want to be the best team in April. So you can't get hurt. They're playing great. I've known Scott Arniel since Scott Arniel broke into the NHL with Dale Hawerchuk way back when they were World Junior teammates and junior teammates. And, you know, great winger at the time, has become a great assistant coach through the years, takes over there. I think he's got them playing believable hockey. Everybody believes in what they're doing. They're tight. They're sound defensively. They've got the best goalie in the world right now. That is also undeniable. I don't think anybody saw 14-1 coming, but it's hard to bet against them. Now, having said that, they're in New York tonight, right? And they got a tough little part of their schedule here, and so they've got some litmus tests coming. Not that any other game is a gimme, but you know, let's talk again closer to Christmas time when those dog days kind of set in. Will they only have one loss by then? I hardly think so, but I think right now, somebody last week, RP, there was some sort of power ranking in the NHL, and they actually had the Jets second. How can you have the Jets second? Like, are you watching? Are you watching? Because this team, they're doing it at every part of the game, every end of the ice, and they're getting world-class goaltending, and everybody's seeing that right now. So, okay, so you know what? That part of my birth certificate is talking right now. Go Jets. Go Jets, go.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
How did this fly get in there? Somebody got a fly swatter?
yeehaw!
It was a shot of Prairie Jesus is really what it was. It was. You'd think we would be getting used to it, but we never get used to it. We never get tired of good things happen.
This life doesn't get old.
No. It was a nice little distraction from the real world, and here we are today for a coffee session.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I got to tell you right now, I feel it in my bones that this show is going to be amazing today. It already is. It's episode number 1458. Let's get the Moose in here. He's got a really big night tonight. He's emceeing the Regina Rams banquet along with John Randall, Minnesota Vikings great. Darren, we're going to have so much viewer participation in the program today. And listen, before you speak, I'm going to tell you why. I just saw a tweet from Scott Laughlin, our good friend from NHL Radio. He goes, one of the best days of the year to be a sports fan. All the March Madness games, like a dozen NHL games. Apparently there's a big soccer game between Canada and Mexico and Southern California. There's football, all kinds of football news spilling over, and I couldn't decide on one. So I said to you this morning, let's just do viewer takeover and talk about it all and just puke on the screen and go. That's what we're going to do for the next 2 hours. I'm pretty excited about that. And then you got to get ready for a banquet tonight. So where are you at mentally as we get ready to rock here?
I'm a little all over the place too, like trying to, keep on track of NCAA starting off. Baseball is getting close. Hockey playoffs are around. Like, there's so much going on. NFL, the CFL Combine is happening. And I got this banquet to do. Like, trying to keep your head in 7 different places, man. So where I'm at, I've made another coffee. It's 10 a.m. out here in Saskatchewan, and I just want to chill and talk sports with you for a little bit. Forget about that stuff for now.
Good. Let's enjoy it. Exactly. And can you believe that the local McDonald's that I go to almost every day was out of eggs They were out of eggs.
What?
They're like, Egg McMuffin, not available on the board. Yeah, now you got to order on your own, right? You can't talk to the person at the till. I'm like, are you kidding? Go to the grocery store. Anyways, we are Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show, and we also air in 32 U.S. states. They seem to like us down there. That's the deal. Coming up in hour 2, Jeff Paterson will be joining us from RinkWide, Vancouver, a very long time, very good friend of mine, hockey broadcaster from out there. Can we hit the quick 6 show horn, guys, and we'll get her going? Bryce, let's get her going. Number one, so the poll question is this. amongst all the things that are going on, the poll question is this for EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience, by the way, with a keynote speaker from the EMJ Marketing roster. Check them out at emjmarketing.com and contact Joe there. What are you into the more of? Of all these things I just said, plus there's a big PGA event that I'm going to be attending this weekend in the Tampa area. Are you more into March Madness? Are you more into the CFL Combine? Are you into both? Or are you into neither? And a little bit of a spoiler alert, some people aren't going to like my answer on this, but here's what the voters are saying. The viewers, 45% saying they're into March Madness, and let's be honest, it's day one today. 45% say they're into March Madness. 32% say they're not into either. 21% say they're into the CFL Combine, and 2% say they're into both. And I have this sense that not a lot of March Madness fans are CFL fans, and hockey fans really aren't basketball fans. So today we're going to talk about it all because we are like Canada's Pardon the Interruption. And before you interject with your vote, Sanderson writes in, who seems to be a new viewer, and says, does anyone under the age of 45 care about the CFL any longer? And it's a legit question. We hear it a lot. I'm not willing to open the show with that discussion, but if they want to talk about it in the YouTube chat, they're more than welcome to. You can write us on the Progressive Insurance text line 902-518-3033. Switch to Progressive, and you could save a bunch. It's a question we get a lot. I got some problems with the CFL and the way they do business, but I'm not willing to talk about that today. That's what Football Fridays are for. So what are you voting for in the poll, Moose?
Yeah, I'm into both, but I'm going to vote yes, I'm into March Madness. I'm into March Madness because I want to make a decision here. I don't want to just pick both to be happy. I'm going to pick March Madness.
Okay, cool. And here's what's beautiful. It's in my commentary today. I turned on SportsCenter this morning. It's ESPN, and they say, welcome to the best 4 days in sports, the opening round of March Madness. And I'm like, I'm not falling for it. I heard you and Clark talking before we went to air about you guys' brackets and who you got picked to win today, and that's great, but I don't care who you got picked or who anybody's. I don't care. It's like fantasy football teams where everybody has their own. I don't care who you're starting this Sunday. And I said, what I care about was the fact that Daniel Hauser last night set the Western Hockey League record for wins by a goalie. That's what I care about. But what's beautiful about sports is we can all like what we're into. And then this morning, Darren, I went down the rabbit hole of studying who's on the all-time list of goalies for the WHL wins. Nolan Meyer, the Blades out of Yorkton, had set the record just a few years ago. I'm looking at these names. Mark Fitzpatrick, Troy Gamble, two great Medicine Hat Tiger goalies from days gone by. Carter Hart, Corey Hirsch. Oh, my God. So, yeah, we're all into everything. It's a little bit different. Anyways, what'd I say? We're going to puke on the screen. Everything's going to come out. And I feel like it kind of has. So to the NHL from last night, you and I tied 1-1. I had the Avs to win in Toronto. They didn't. The Leafs won 2-1. Austin Matthews scored his fourth goal in the last 3 games. Justin Wall. Is it Justin Wall? Wall made 38 saves. He's going to become a household name if he isn't already. Joseph Wall. Sorry, I knew it was Jay. Joseph Wall made 38 saves for the Leafs in the 2-1 victory over Colorado. That's a big one. And the Minnesota Wild upended, was it Seattle last night? I picked the Wild to win. So you and I tied 1-1 in our picks last night, Darren. But let's just spend a minute on last night's NHL games. I got a few notes written down here. Rick Vibe tipped it off yesterday when he was on. He tipped it off. You really want to finish first in that Atlantic if you are the Leafs, because you do not want to play Florida and Tampa in round 1. So they got a lot to. I feel like Tampa and Florida are just trying to finish as high as they can. They don't care. But the Leafs really want to finish first. Am I on to something there?
Yeah, I think, period. Forget about it. I think first place matters for everybody. I think first place in this division matters more than anything. That division is so tough. And I mean, they all really end up being really tough. But if it's Florida, Tampa in the first round, you don't want that. That's tough. If it's Toronto, Florida, Toronto, Tampa, those are really difficult. They're not saying that it's easier going to the wild card. You know what happens when you try and manipulate who you're going to play. But it's a huge advantage. Home ice, you play the wild card. I think that's where you want to finish. So the race between geez, all three teams is going to be tight right down to the wire.
Yeah, well, and so as we move along here, with regards to what are you into the most? March Madness, CFL Combine, both or neither. Ted in Red Deer writes in and he says, voted neither, but I will pay attention to the CFL draft, but for the draft. But for me, it's the focus on the blue, blanc, et rouge. It's been a while for us Habs fans. See, again, everybody's into something a little different, so that's totally cool. Settle down, fill up your coffee as Moose did. We're gonna get to it all here. We're in the warm-up, and later on, Jeff Paterson will be joining us, Vancouver Canucks. The NHL general managers wrapped up their meetings. Before we get to the NFL proposed rule changes, I'm skipping out of order here. I'm going to go to my fourth point, Darren, of the quick six. Where the hell is it? Oh, NHL GM meetings. All the topics of it are at rodpeterson.com right now. It's the top story running on our website. But Gary Bettman coming out and saying, it's interesting the way commissioners talk, and largely they're business people, you know. Like he basically said, we need to tweak our all-star format. There will be no all-star game next year. I think he said there's going to be no all-star game next year because there are the Olympics. I think they said they need to decide what the format's going to be moving forward by this spring. For whatever reason, why they are putting the gun to their own head, I don't know. But there will be no rule changes. There will be no teams added to the playoffs. You and I discussed that yesterday. Serena and I discussed it yesterday on the Cats and Bolts podcast. The live show there was very popular. But basically, Gary Bettman said, and I thought this was a little braggadocious for a hockey person, we raised the bar for all-star games of any league with the Four Nations face-off. But he's probably right. So, I mean, are you bragging if it's true? I don't know. He's probably right. It's the best all-star format in sports right now. So, yeah, I guess there's nothing arrogant about that.
There's not. But, you know, what's funny is it wasn't until I started seeing it from social media, from people outside of hockey. It was NFL people. It was, to be honest, a lot of NFL people, some NBA pundits, and they're like, this is what the NBA rolled out for All-Star Weekend. This is what the NFL did with the Pro Bowl games. And look at the NHL, right? Until that moment, I never really considered the Four Nations face-off to be the NHL's All-Star game or even the All-Star Weekend. I thought we were pausing the NHL season and bringing best on best back. And I just considered it international hockey. Even though it was owned by the NHL, ran by the NHL, I didn't consider that as an all-star game or an all-star week. So I don't know that that necessarily works. I thought it was awesome. Definitely great. And they'll continue to do it. But yeah, the NHL is winning all-star weekend.
Here's something nobody else will say. And that's why people show up here today, because you never know what we're going to say. And I guarantee that because we never know what we're going to say. The Four Nations face-off was a fluke. They didn't plan it was going to be that great. And I'm saying that as the biggest NHL supporter that there is. Okay? Like, here's the thing. I don't want to dump on the NHL. I got a second chance here. Things are going fantastically here. For me, with the Panthers and the Lightning, let's keep it going. I'm not going to dump on the NHL, but I'm going to be honest when I say, how could they have planned that it would be as great as it was? And I don't think that's a knock against the NHL for saying that, but to stand back and say, it's the best all-star format of all the leagues. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't know that Matthew Tkachuk was going to go full metal jacket and his brother Brady. You know, you didn't know that Trump was going to piss everybody off and start a trade war, because don't think that wasn't part of it, Darren. Like, those fights probably don't happen if not for the political climate at the time. It was all luck. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. As the Saskatchewan Roughriders guy, when we made millions as a franchise, the oil and gas revenues and uranium and potash all took off, and that was all timing too. This was a timing thing, and it was luck. But don't act like you planned it. Now, I may not be right, but do you agree or at least see where I'm coming from on that?
Oh, yeah. And we talked about this a lot. Like, it was a perfect storm of the political tensions rising, And then you had, a lack of best on best hockey for, a decade. And it all came together to create this wonderful, environment. If you start doing this every year, I even think every 2 years is too much. It's going to start to, water this down, and you need to create some tension. And I know the NHL wants their piece, but the Olympics every 4 years is good enough for me because it gives you a little bit of time to chew on it. It creates more discussion and suspense around the picks. Selecting the teams become a bigger deal. Training camps. Yeah, I like every 4 years.
Maybe that's why they haven't made a decision on what they're going to do moving forward, because they legitimately don't know. But if they have it every 4 years and stagger it in between the Olympics, that should work for everybody. By the way, my guy Chris from the Bronx texted me and asked if I got my bracket in, my picks in. I'm not making March Madness picks. I'm not even entering a free bracket. And again, Chris, clearly he did not read or listen to my commentary this morning. I'm shocked that you didn't, Chris, but I'm not spending $20 US on a NCAA bracket. That's $30 Canadian. That's a week full of coffees for me. I might as well go out and burn a $20 bill because nobody's ever had a perfect bracket. Some farm kid from Milestone, Saskatchewan is not going to be the first. So I'll just save my money because I'm not an idiot. Oh, and by the way, when I say it's viewer takeover, everybody's gonna have their opinion welcomed here. We're all over the place. We're all out of order today on the RP show. Some of these jackwagons are bringing in politics, and I actually had it written down here. John in Edmonton says, Rod, Donald Trump wants to do NHL versus KHL games, and the NHL is not happy. Thoughts? Well, number one, don't go running off because you're not totally correct there. And so Putin and Trump spoke, as you know, and it was Putin's idea to have KHL All-Stars play the NHL All-Stars, and Trump's like, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Trump doesn't know a hockey puck from a stuffed turkey. And the NHL did come out and say, we know nothing about this. We have no comment. They never said they were upset, John. So just be careful with what you're throwing around there. But the other reason that I'm very much tiptoeing, Darren, around the political thing is, have you seen the coverage of the Tesla dealerships, specifically in Las Vegas? I saw this. They were lit on fire. People were lobbing Molotov cocktails onto a car dealership in Vegas, a Tesla dealership, because they hate Elon Musk because he's obviously friends with Donald Trump, like partner. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And that's why I don't want to get into that, because I've had my vehicle vandalized out front of sporting venues because people knew that it was mine. I don't, what the hell is wrong with people? You can't. What the hell is wrong with people? So I don't know. Maybe you don't want to comment on that. But you can see why it's very uncomfortable for us to get into here.
Can I? Maybe I should tell everybody what I told you and Clark about my social media filters these days.
Sure.
I just don't let it bug me, all right? And you just can't get swept up in it. It's so emotional and it's so volatile and it's so heated. And to be honest, it's not serving each of us to get swept up in that stuff and be involved in it. It is so negative. And all it's going to do is put you further and further into a bad mental place.
Okay. Well, I've been spending the morning listening to Jordan Pedersen interviews, thanks to certain people like Chris from the Bronx and a lot of my close friends that have turned me onto them. And what he said, there ain't nothing wrong with just walking away. Just walk away for a while, forever, whatever the hell's best for you. I'm walking away from that stuff. I don't care. Now, Chris did write me and say that he's cheering for St. John's in Florida. And I do have... we'll talk a little bit. Listen, we can still talk about March Madness, of course. It's the biggest thing. I get that, even though I'm not making a bracket. Montana is playing today against Wisconsin. On Wisconsin. Did you know whether that's on Rough Riders was stolen from the Wisconsin Badgers? Wow. So, yeah, I'll be paying attention for as long as my Montana Grizzlies are taking on Wisconsin at Ball Arena in Denver today. So that's my rooting interest, Montana, because that's basically where I'm from. We'll be right back in a second. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
The point is over.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour one is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Black Bag. From director Steven Soderbergh, Black Bag is a gripping spy drama about legendary intelligence agents George Woodhouse and his beloved wife, Catherine. When she's suspected of betraying the nation, George faces the ultimate test, loyalty to his marriage or to his country. Starring Kate Blanchett. Catch Black Bag in Landmark Cinemas tonight. Okay, Moose, get on up. Moose tonight is emceeing the Regina Rams annual fundraising banquet, and he is the host, and the guest speaker is John Randall, Minnesota Vikings great. I've been to that many times. I've seen a lot of great speakers. Joe Theismann comes to mind. Matt Dunnigan was incredible. Either Jay Onright or Dan O'Toole, one of the two. Dan for sure. I think Jay might have done it one year as well. It's great. And are you okay with asking for a little audience participation on the John Randall thing, Moose?
Yeah, let's
you go
do
ahead.
it. I mean, sure. I mean, John Randall is going to be the speaker, and I'll be honest. When I first saw that, I'm like, I don't really know John Randall. And you do a little homework, and I've heard the name, and Hall of Famer, Minnesota Vikings, great, but a little before my NFL time. So I know we got lots of Vikings fans in here. What do you want to hear from John Randall? What would be some questions for John Randall tonight? I got a few in my back pocket, and it will be fun. But I'm getting to know John Randall on the fly here.
I'm not going to be a spoiler at all. This is between Moose and John Randall and the Vikings fans. So for all of you watching, and I believe we are in Minnesota, 902-518-3033. Write us now on the Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in, he says, hard to not get swept up in the politics every time you check your investments, Moose. LOL. Well, I was with my guys here in Boca the other night, one of them being a money guy. And I said, hey, the stockbrokers are saying Trump's causing hell in the stock market. And the guy goes, don't get so. He goes, how's your portfolio? And I said, really good. Robust. As a matter of fact, he goes, oh, robust. Yeah. So stop watching CNN or the Bloomberg Network. Okay. I guess Brian and I invest in other opposite things. We're going to get to football right away. We've got a lot of football fans that have come here to talk. But for those that have tuned in late here on Game Plus and streaming, this is viewer takeover. That's why I'm going back and forth with so many of the viewers and asking for the viewers' opinion. There's so much going on, I couldn't narrow down what to talk about. So I said, let's talk about everything. And it's going great. I said earlier that the Four Nations face-off, the NHL fluked out with it. We didn't even know what the hell it was. They'd never done it before with these four countries. We didn't know how they were going to play. Gretzky said it the first night when Canada played Sweden. He said that the Swedes were horrific. They didn't even show up to play, which they didn't. And then it was Canada and the USA. And the Kachuk brothers going all Donkey Kong made it like the greatest tournament ever. It did. But we didn't know that was going to happen. Rob writes in from the Queen City. Can I say Rob from Windthorst? Because that's originally where he's from. He says, the Four Nations Cup was a success, but I wouldn't call it an all-star game since you are missing a lot of great players from other countries. I'm sure it will be expanded in 2027 after the Olympics. Well, what they're saying is they're not going to have a regular all-star game. This is what they're going to do. Am I right? They won't have the all-star, which they shouldn't have an all-star game anymore. This is better. That's what we're getting, right, Moose?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, you can't. I'm with you. You can't do this every year, though. And I think they're looking at what do we do with the All-Star weekend? Do we turn it into more of just a skills competition? Do we create some country aspect? We used to have North America versus the world. Maybe we create this country thing and something a little smaller. I don't think we'll see a big tournament like this every year. I don't think we'll see the All-Star game like we've known to see it, where it's, just a glorified scrimmage for a little bit. They're going to have to tweak what they do.
Trust me, the CFL talk and NFL talk is coming up right around the corner. We got 2 hours today to get to it, everybody, so just hang on. We go back to that poll question. What are you more into for EMJ marketing today? March Madness, the CFL Combine, both or neither? The majority saying March Madness. Number 2 in the voting is neither. Not into either one. And it sparked one viewer to write in and say, is anybody under the age of 45 even care about the CFL anymore? Gary in Winnipeg writes in, the old fart, and he says, my son takes his family to Blue Bomber games. The 11-year-old twins love going to Bomber games. They also go to a couple Jets games each year. Winnipeg fans are very fortunate to have 2 competitive sports franchises. Ziz. Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won, Bob. The Blue Bombers have been in the last 5 straight Grey Cups. And to be honest, if that's what you are relying on to market your team, which, let's be honest, most leagues and teams do, it's going to suck when your team sucks. You know what I mean? You can't just rely on winning, but that's kind of what it is, too. Like, fans don't care how many community visits you do. They don't. Allie's checked in from Texarkana, by the way. She says, happy Thursday, RP Moose and Squad. Hope everyone's well. Hey, Allie, enjoy the lightning and the stars tonight. She says, I'm more into hockey, but of those, I am into March Madness more. Cool. Okay, any thoughts before we diverge into football, Moose?
Yeah, no, I mean, on the under 45 comment, just, worry about what you're into and don't worry about everybody else. It's like saying, too, I would say nobody outside of Toronto cares about basketball in this country either. And that's not true. It's not at scale, and it's not wrong in the CFL comment, but there's plenty of people under 45 that care about the CFL.
Absolutely. Okay, so now to football as we talk about everything today and having so much fun. The Green Bay Packers have formally proposed a rule change to ban the tush push And the Detroit Lions proposed that playoff seeding be done based on record instead of automatically placing division winners in the top 4 spots. Philadelphia has used the tush-push successfully behind Jalen Hurts for the past 3 seasons in short yardage situations, including the Super Bowl. Other teams have tried to use it as well, but without the success of the Eagles. Eagles proposed a change, by the way, in overtime rules to align it more like the playoffs when each team is guaranteed an opportunity to score. The proposal would extend regular season overtime from 10 minutes to 15, and the game wouldn't end if the team that got the ball first scored a touchdown. It's hard to believe that's still a thing, but it is. In other proposed changes, the Lions proposed that illegal contact and defensive holding penalties would not give the offense an automatic first down. Stick with me, Darren, and I know you are. The Steelers proposed that teams would be allowed to have one video call or phone call with prospective unrestricted free agents from other teams and their agents during the 2-day negotiating window before the start of free agency. The Lions proposed that players put on injured reserve before or on the day that rosters are cut to 53 shouldn't count on the 90-man roster limit. And several clubs proposed allowing teams to prepare the special kicking balls before the day of the game like they can with the regular balls. So, yeah, because each team... I got into talk about that the other day. Who the hell was I talking about? Brady and the Deflate Gate and how... I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. Like, each team has their own ball. People still think they use one ball, Darren. So it's like, are you even paying attention to what's going on? What do you think of all of that?
It's very interesting, and I have some thoughts on a few of them. And the first is the tush push. And at first, I'm like, if you can't stop it, if there's no defense for it, and it's essentially a cheat code, then yeah, there should be rules around it. But where I don't think it should be changed yet is that every team can't do it. It's not this automatic thing that you just press a button and every team can do it. The Eagles are the only ones who have figured it out. So don't penalize them for being the ones who figured it out. If every team starts to figure it out and it becomes automatic across the board, put a rule in that you can't push these guys or catapult them forward. But if they're the only team, don't penalize them for that. The overtime rules, makes sense to make that change for sure. And then the other one I really sparked my interest was the Lions talking about the penalties resulting in automatic first down, some of these defensive penalties. And I think I agree, because too many times I'm watching and it's a 5-yard penalty and it's a really kind of borderline call or whatever, and it doesn't really affect the play, and it's a playoff game, and all of a sudden, automatic first down. And I don't like that. So that one I could see changing. That's a small tweak that nobody will really even recognize, and I think it'll improve the game.
It really is wild, man. Because I remember where I was the day the CFL came out with the news that they were narrowing the hash marks. Remember that? And we're like, oh, my God. Now they're going to have to make all those changes to all the fields, which was a pain in the ass. But the field goal percentages has skyrocketed, especially after they took the microchips out of the footballs. Remember that zany story? But it's funny on the tush-push thing because Chris Sims this morning, again, here I am just running at LA Fitness, listening to Pro Football Talk. I am a creature of habit, and I like it. Sims is like Jason Kelsey. Every time they called the tush-push, he'd get down on the ball and go, oh, my God, here we go again. He said the centers hate it. Now, I never played football. That's why I'm not interested in really getting back into football, because it was stressful for 20 years as voice of the Rough Riders when I didn't even really know what I was talking about. You, Darren, if I'm not mistaken, were primarily a defensive player. You certainly were not an offensive lineman. But talk about that tush-push and the stress it would put on the O-lineman, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I wasn't an O-lineman. I was an offensive player as a quarterback and a receiver primarily. But it would, like, those guys just end up taking it, right? Like, they're sitting there and it's just going to be pressure on them from behind, and everybody's trying to cut your legs out and trying to get down there and get low and then jump. It's violent enough, but now guys are trying to get an edge and get in there and it's just a lot more pressure than just a regular running play or any regular play. It's dangerous. it can be dangerous, but yet we haven't seen the injuries at a high level from the tush-push play, so that's not a reason to change it either. Yeah, he obviously doesn't like it. It's obviously not a lot of fun for those guys, but I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
It's just so typical of leagues. It's like, oh, we can't stop it, so let's put in a rule that they can't do it anymore. It just ticks me off so much. We got, our viewers are so great, which we know. Well, number one, Ted in Red Deer is helping you out here. He says, I remember John Randall as an Aaron Donald caliber player who went undrafted. How the scouts missed him would be a great question. You want to write that down, Moose, and put it in your portfolio?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Colin in Ottawa says, Colin says the new CFL commissioner needs to be able to rope in a streaming service for international broadcast rights. These streamers throw around millions on shows no one watches, so why not spend on the CFL? Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says, if you're spending your weekend watching the CFL Combine, please heed my advice and find a hobby. Or get a life.
How about that?
Go for a walk. Download a dating app. Trust me, we will get to the Aaron Rodgers thing. Everybody wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers, and that's fine. It's what we're here for, to make everybody happy. But primarily, Darren, we need to make you and me happy. Are we successful on that? I feel like we are.
Yes.
We are, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Bomber Boy writes and he says, the centers have the added stress of only having one arm at the snap to perform their job, right? So there you go. And just with Brian, just to finish up on what we talked about earlier with how the politics affects your investments, and I'm like, mine are fine. He writes that he says, you and I must invest in different stuff, Rod, I guess, because mine's down in the last month. You must be much smarter than my investment team. For some reason, that doesn't surprise me. No, I'll tell you right now, I don't mind saying my guy is Mike McCullough. Very smart guy from St. Francis Xavier, Kingston, Ontario, former Rough Riders linebacker, Hall of Fame linebacker. And I sat in his office probably 2 years ago at this time, and he's like, Rod, I think we should try this. And I'm like, that's what I pay you for. And 2 years later, I'm like, ooh. So you get somebody good and get somebody you trust and let them do their thing. Because I'm not an arrogant, egotistical idiot saying, no, do this. I know more than you. You do this. There's a lot of people like that. Trust me in everything. We'll be back in a moment. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house. Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. the Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It may take weeks, months, or even years to get the call to be a stem cell donor. Saving lives takes commitment and dedication, just like being a hockey player. Give hope to patients in Canada. Register online at blood.ca/getswabbed and spread the word amongst your family and friends. Also brought to you by Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Moose is in the Queen City right now getting ready for the Rams fundraising banquet tonight. I'm actually dying to get to the NHL picks for tonight's games, Darren, but it's going to take a while, and I feel like we don't have time in this segment. But there's some big games. Florida's at Columbus tonight. Your Leafs are at the Rangers. Flames at New Jersey. Vancouver at St. Louis. Jets at Oilers. Anytime it's an all-Canadian matchup, we're excited about that. But let me ask you this. We talked a couple segments ago about the Leafs wanting to really finish first because they don't want to draw Florida or Tampa in round one. I don't even think it matters for the Leafs. They shouldn't worry about the opponent. They should worry about their own game. But on our Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday, which Wayne in Victoria, BC wrote in yesterday, and he goes, I don't know why more shows don't do the interactive nature like you guys do, Rod, because it's so fun. And I'm like, because I think most hosts don't have the balls to sit there and field live comments from the viewers. I don't think they do. It's like live grenades. I can handle it because I'm used to doing interventions with meth addicts and crackheads and alcoholics. This ain't nothing. Jeff the Stamps fan is Snow White compared to what I'm used to. But we did a live show with the Cats and Bolts yesterday, and it was fun there too. People love to be part of it, Darren. But Serena got going on about the Leafs and Austin Matthews and him having a down year. And is it? She's basically, she's like, he got the bag like everybody else. And I'm like, I don't really see that. He's above a point a game. He's now scored 4 goals in the last 3 games, scored last night. What do you want out of the guy? She just doesn't really like him. But where are you as the resident Leafs fan on the play of Austin Matthews this year?
Yeah, I mean, look, by Austin Matthews standards and the standards we set for one of the best players in the game, he's having a down year. Connor McDavid's having a down year too. And I know that's Serena's guy, but he's having a big down year. And so is Matthews in that term. But like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Matthews, who was on the chase for 70 goals last year. So anything short of that was going to be a down year. And even for us hockey fans that are, realists and understand that 70 goals is not attainable year over year, anything less than being in that 50 goal conversation is going to be a down year for Austin Matthews. That's more reasonable. And he's definitely off that. He's not a 50 goal scorer this year. So that becomes an issue. But He's getting hot now a little bit. He said 4 goals in 3 games. If he gets hot, has a great playoffs, they'll consider this the greatest year of his career, as long as he gets hot in the playoffs and scores in the playoffs. So always an opportunity to redeem it. Still one of the top, probably 2 goal scorers in hockey when he's on. So, yeah, down year, but nothing to panic about.
Okay, well, then she's right. You know? Which is fine. I mean, she's not dumb. Like, people asked her to comment on her Oilers. She wouldn't do it. I asked her to comment about Ovi's chase of Gretzky. Wouldn't talk about it. She's so upset about it. Well, rather you don't talk about it than, be mad. So, Carlos in Indianapolis writes it. He says, this format allows for a lot faster reaction and feedback than call-ins. There's that, but I'm going to tell you something else, which it doesn't bother me anymore that people don't think I know what I'm doing. I'm so used to it, it doesn't bother me anymore. But you know what? It used to be a major trigger for me. Because I'm like, how many awards do I need to win? How many mountains do I need to climb before you realize I know what I'm doing? But it's like Belichick winning 6 Super Bowls. They still think he's lost his mind. And he hasn't. I'm sure he doesn't worry about it either. But my point is, as I'm running at LA Fitness this morning, I look up at one of the screens, because the other 2 had Trump and Elon Musk, and I'm so tired of seeing that. It's Adam Schefter on the TV talking about Aaron Rodgers waiting to make a decision. And I'm like, you're ESPN, so who the hell am I to say? But I don't want to sit here and run miles and miles and miles and listen to the same GD stuff, to quote my mom. That's the GD part. Let's say gosh darn stuff. It's on and on and on and on about the same bloody thing. I can't. And I feel like a lot of people get sucked into that. We have people writing in here, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers not making a decision? So he hasn't made a decision. You know what, Aaron? Get back to us when you do. You are just feeding into it. Now, that's the part about Aaron Rodgers I don't like, is it's narcissistic. And I'm gonna save judgment until I meet him, which I probably never will. But I don't like it. But so what? I'll just go over here and talk about something else. I don't know. I'm tired of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Are you not?
No, but only in the fact that I stopped listening to it and I don't see it right now. I'm not watching it. For me, I'm in the camp of, okay, Aaron Rodgers hasn't decided all these, the top quarterbacks from free agency are off the board. And yeah, we're going to wait for Aaron to sign. And when he does, then it's going to be that again. Where's the fit? We're going to talk and analyze that to death into, OTAs and into training camp in the summer and all the rest. And then it's going to be, who are his receivers? Is he happy? Has he reported? What's he wearing? All this stuff. We're not getting rid of Aaron Rodgers anytime soon. He will sign. But yeah, I think we could pipe down on just like, there's no news here. So let's just wait until there's news, because we know it's going to be 24/7 when that happens.
Potentially the biggest sports day of the year. 16 March Madness games as the round of 64 gets rolling. I think it's 12 NHL games. The Blue Jays are playing the Rays. The Raptors are at Golden State. The Miami Heat have lost 9 in a row. Trump and Putin want to have a hockey tournament. Why the hell are we sitting here talking about Aaron Rodgers who can't make up his mind? Like, let's get real about it. And the funny thing is, I saw this meme of Aaron Rodgers walking down the beach with a blanket wrapped around him. Did you see that? And they're making fun of him that he's taking his time and meditating before he makes a decision. And I'm like, everybody wants to make fun of him, but Prime, Deion Sanders says every time he has an important decision he needs to make, he goes fishing. And nobody thinks that's weird, because guess what? It's not. Aaron Rodgers going into that sensory deprivation cave 2 years ago to make his decision on where to play. Everybody made a joke about it. That part bothers me, that people laugh about this kind of stuff. But again, that's on me, that it would bother me. Okay, go have your dart, Moose. Return a couple calls.
Yeah.
See you in hour 2. It's going fast.
All right, thank you.
Mini overtime is next. And I got some great questions to get to from the viewers. It's viewer takeover today all day. And Jeff Paterson will be with us from RinkWide Vancouver in hour 2 for the Canucks fans, so get your questions in then. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's what we call mini overtime. Brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. If you have not been to OT Hockey Lanes in Calgary yet, what the heck is taking you so long? 28th Street Northeast, tell them the RP Show sent you. We are broadcasting from Studio 23 there and having a great day. I hope you are too. Let me finish this up, and I never got to it with Moose. It's on me, my bad. Point 6 of the quick six. Xavier outlasted the Texas Longhorns 86-60. And Mount St. Mary's beat American 83-72 to complete the men's first four last night. Iowa State stormed back to beat Princeton 68-63, and Southern cruised past UCSD 68-56 to open the women's first four. That was all last night. That is some of our randoms. Meanwhile, Rachel Homan's Canadian rink, here on the Heavy Gym Sports headlines, Rachel Homan's Canadian rink has clinched a playoff spot at the World Women's Curling Championship in South Korea. The defending champs posted a 7-6 extra end victory over Switzerland and an 11-2 win over Japan. Homan's team is second at 8-2, tied with Sweden and South Korea. The Toronto Raptors look to end their Western road trip on a high note tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Toronto opened the stretch with a victory in Utah before back-to-back losses in Portland and Phoenix. The Raptors, currently 11th in the NBA's East, return home Sunday to host San Antonio. The sports updates for Heavy Gym. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca and tell Tony at Heavy Gym that the RP Show sent you. We appreciate those local businesses coming to us to spread their word. 902-518-3033, Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Vintage Sasko writes in on the 902. He says, hey, Reverend Rod, if the Olympics are close to adding 3-on-3 hockey to the 2030 Olympics, have a small-ass international 3-on-3 tourney instead of an all-star game. Could be epic. Could fail, but that's life. They had that. Right, Clark? That was the tournament in Nashville that John Scott was the MVP of. I think that was the last year they had it. If John Scott's going to be the MVP, we're done. Rob from Windthorst writes in and says, Rob from Windthorst works great. That's where I'm from. I just reside in Regina. You know Norm from Windthorst? It's a Saskatchewan thing. Gary from Winnipeg writes in, the old fart. He says, I would say that more Canadians follow the major golf tournaments every weekend rather than March Madness. Rod, I have never heard if you partake in or follow golf. That's because you're a new viewer. And I feel like so many times, like the teacher at the front of the room, it's going through the same lesson year after year after year. Or the guy in the band playing the same hits 50 straight years in the casino. Here it is again. I can't stand golf. I loathe golf. Please, don't even get me started on golf. I suck at it. It's hella expensive, and it pisses me off. Why would I do it? Please tell me why. And everybody, especially in SAS, was trying to get me into it. Even Darren said, but this is your problem with it. If you just do this, you'll like golf. No, I won't. What language am I speaking? And the nicest thing is I came to Florida, I had all these new friends ask me to golf. I don't golf, and they don't ask. I don't know what it is about Canada. They just up my ass all the. I don't go. I hate it. And having said that, I will be going to the Valspar, if that's what it's called, PGA event in Tampa Bay this weekend, but I'll be going as a fan. Why would you pay copious amounts of money to do something you hate and you suck at? I've never figured that out. Rich in Edmonton. Come on, people. Rod, don't do golf. Nelson says, don't get Rod started on golf. He goes on to say, golf is a nice walk ruined by a little white ball. Yeah, I like golf movies, John Ohm. Yeah, I like everything about it, but doing it. NHL picks tonight. More of all this and Jeff Paterson coming up in hour 2.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Now,
How did this fly get in there? Somebody got a fly swatter?
yeehaw!
It was a shot of Prairie Jesus is really what it was.
It was.
You'd think we would be getting used to it, but we never get used to it. We never get tired of good things happening.
This life doesn't get old.
No. It was a nice little distraction from the real world, and here we are today for a coffee session.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
You got to be really happy when things go according to plan, because you know what? They very rarely ever do. I told you an hour ago this was going to be an amazing show, and it has been. This is hour 2 of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show on the Game Plus TV network and streaming. And Darren, we can't do it every day because it would get old. But doing this viewer takeover to the degree that we have, and we almost went with no guest today, just you and me. People are loving it, and it's so much fun. Are you having as much fun as me?
Yeah, of course. It's a great day, and this is a fun conversation.
Yes, I'm in Florida, the Florida studio, Studio 23. Moose is in Saskatchewan. He's emceeing the Regina Rams dinner tonight. The guest speaker is John Randall. And if there's any Vikings fans that are watching and have any John Randall stories, questions, fire them our way. We'll pass them along to Moose. So we already got a great one from Ted and Red Deer tonight. Sanderson writes in and says, does Moose really smoke the darts? No, that's the funny thing. No, he doesn't. That's why we say that. I don't think you care that people are now thinking that you smoke. Well, man, I'll stop saying it. Okay.
But I love, no, don't. I love that people picture me going out on the porch and just puffing on it in the break, you know?
Oh, no.
Ben Affleck.
This day, man.
I know. I just snorted. I haven't done that in ages. They got me going about golf, and I said how much I hate it. Remember you said, well, I think you would like it if blah, 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 blah. No, Darren. I hate it. Rob in Vegas writes in, and he says, Rod, next time you're in town, I'll get you out for a round at the Las Vegas Country Club. Rob, read my lips. I hate golf. I just said it. Why would you invite me out for a round? Let's go for lunch, okay? Darren, why? What's wrong with you people in golf? Why? What do I need to tell you to get it through to your head that I can't stand it?
I just like the visual. I think it was 3 summers ago or more, and you hit a bad shot, and it's that sound of the golf cart. Clunk, the brake goes out, everybody away, and you're just, hate it.
It's not fun. I hate it. And the thing is, we had a deal with the golf course. We had free golf on this show. And once the Rough Riders coaches found out that I had free golf, hey, Rod, why don't you take us out golfing? I want nothing to do with it. And I'm going to the PGA event this weekend in Tampa, but I'm going as a fan. I'm always starting to get anxiety as it is. But we got some other fun things that we're doing. We're going to watch the Blue Jays and the Pirates on Sunday. We're sitting right behind home plate. We do have our NHL picks to get to, and Jeff Paterson will be with us from RinkWide Vancouver. What a race in the NHL West. But what we're doing here is viewer takeover because we couldn't settle on one topic. Bomber Boy writes in, and he says, hey, Rod, Chris, who is this? Somebody's texting me from the Fort Lauderdale area code. Oh, my God, it's DeBuck. Do you want to golf tomorrow? DeBuck, turn it off.
What's that? Let's go.
Bomber Boy writes in, he says, hey, Rod, do you have an opinion about the increasingly polarizing discourse about removing anthems before games? Well, a couple of weeks ago, we spent a show on it. But I will say this. I'm trying to not really pick a side. I initially said get rid of the anthems. And I will tell you, and you know this, Darren, because you were right there with me, my phone blew up from the Panthers anthem singer, the U.S. men's soccer team singer, WCBL anthem singers, CFL anthem singers, who are also WHO. They all went nuts. How dare you say no more anthems? I'm like, oh, I never thought about it. And I kind of sat back here. DeBuck is becoming one of my closest friends, so I think he gets it, but a lot of people in sports don't understand. They think it's just the coaches and just the players, and that's it. No, there's the refs, there's the umps, there's the anthem singers, there's the broadcasters, there's the announcers, there's the people in the ticket office, there's the people in the merchandise store, there's stats guys, public address announcers. You know what I mean? Like, we're all part of a wonderful thing that's called sport. And how dare I say we should get rid of this part of it? I'm ashamed that I said that. And it's one thing I love about high school sports here that I announce that we play the anthems before the games here. That ain't changing. Mind you, we only play one. But, yeah, at least I was open-minded enough to say I was wrong. So, no, don't get rid of the anthems. And if people want to boo, go ahead. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. You pay your ticket, do what you want. But what's yours on that?
Yeah, I mean, the anthems, I still think the anthems are pretty special. I think there's maybe some opportunity to tweak how we do things, maybe. But, yeah, I mean, it's important, though. Like, look, we put an idea out there, we got some feedback, and then our opinion changed, or we, made a different decision. That's how it should work. That's kind of how the process should work. Shouldn't be, set in stone that this is what I think now, and I'm not changing off this no matter what,
Well, I do a lot of work on the spirituality end of things, and what I just read this morning is it's a sense that you're starting to become more open-minded is another way of saying it, to just be open to other people's opinions. You can kind of tell who isn't very quickly, which reminds me, Ted in Red Deer writes in and he says, nice troll, Matt DeBuck. DeBuck just tweeted last week, he goes, I don't golf, I don't fish, all I'm into is football. So you thought I wasn't paying attention, Matt. I was. I notice everything. I just don't act like I do. So you don't want to go golf any more than I do. NHL picks. Less than a month to go in the regular season, about 15, 16 games per team. Philadelphia at Washington tonight. Straight up. Caps for me. How about you?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
The Florida Panthers at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Bob's getting the starting goal against his former team. Seth Jones returns as a member of the Panthers. A lot of heat on the Panthers, by the way, in this market.
Yeah.
I'll take the Cats. How about you?
Yeah, too, with those guys coming back.
You're going to take the Cats? Okay. The Leafs at the Rangers. You took Colorado last night, you bloody turncoat.
How about that?
How about that?
And I'm thinking about the Rangers tonight, but
it didn't work.
I'll go Leafs tonight.
Let me check the big board. I correctly picked the Toronto Maple Leafs to win last night, and Moose picked them to lose. Some fan.
I like it. Approved.
Shame on me.
I'll take the Rangers, even though I don't want to. Oh, okay. It's going to be some good picking. Clark says he wants you to take the Rangers. Calgary at the New Jersey Devils. That's a sneaky good game of the night.
Flames.
Yeah, Flames for you? Okay, well, I'll take the Devils. Colorado Avalanche at Ottawa. Oh, boy. The Sens are the hottest team in March. That means Colorado will win. That's who I'm taking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
You?
too. Colorado. Yeah.
The Montreal Canadiens. Matt Dubuque's Montreal Canadiens at the New York Islanders. Habs for me because, as you know, I'm a Hab backer. How about you?
I was going to take the Habs. I'll take the Islanders. I thought maybe you'd go with Patrick Waugh, but I'll take the Islanders.
I can't. They suck too bad. Vancouver at St. Louis.
Sneaky 1B game of the night. Playoff game. Vancouver for me.
They're tied, eh? I think.
Right there.
I'll take the Blues. The Tampa Bay Lightning at the Dallas Stars. That's a beauty as well. You go first.
Dallas.
Okay, I'll take the Bolts. The Anaheim Ducks at the Nashville Predators. Toilet Bowl. You want me to go first? I'll take the Preds.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take the Ducks.
The enthusiasm off that pick is just waffling out of your screen. LA Kings at the Chicago Blackhawks. Kings here.
Times two.
They crap on Connor Bedard every single day on NHL radio. I'm getting tired of it. To the point where I might stop listening. And trust me, I will stop listening. Buffalo Sabres at the Utahs.
I'll take the Utahs.
Okay, I'll take the Sabres. Jenna from California, the biggest Sabres fan, always writes in the middle of when the Sabres win. Every time I know the Sabres win, because she's writing me. Winnipeg at Edmonton. That is the game of the night. What you thinking? Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
One goal either way.
Jets.
Yeah, you're gonna take the Jets. Okay, for that I'll take the Oil. It's 1:11 Eastern. We pause these proceedings. Thank you, Carlos, for pointing it out. Visualize a positive outcome to your current quagmires. It works, I think. Boston at Vegas. Definitely Golden Knights for me.
Yep. Same here.
You too? The Carolina Hurricanes at the San Jose Sharks. Canes for me.
Yeah.
You too? You are a better sports bettor than me. It's surprising that I lead in the pick poll 120 to 117, but it ain't over yet. As Yogi Berra says, it's not over till it's over, right? But my point on that is we're starting to get to the territory where it's easy to pick these games, I think, because if you're eliminated, and the Sharks are the first team eliminated, pretty soon Nashville and Anaheim will be as well. Those are easy pickings, right? Because I had that kid, a damn high school baseball player here, say to me, he's winning a lot in betting. That's all I'll say. Go with who needs it more. It's pretty easy right now this time of year in hockey. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, you got a pretty good idea who needs it more, and you're going to see some of those teams start to mess with their lineups, give younger guys more minutes, different things like that. But they've also got nothing to lose. So the odd time they're going to come back to bite you, but stick to the plan. Keep betting who you think will win, and you should win more times than not.
Ted in Red Deer writes, and he says, have the Utahs decided on a name? They did. If I'm correct in this, it was going to be the Utah Yetis. But then the thermos company blocked it, which I happen to have a Yeti thermos. And I'm thinking of boycotting Yeti thermoses because of that. This is my Grey Cup mug that I got from the CFL. So now they don't know what the hell they're going to do. And it tells me that the owner of the Utah team is too cheap because Bill Foley just wrote a big check when there was an infringement from the Central Florida Golden Knights Division I football team. Bill's like, who do I make the check out to? And the Utah owner clearly didn't want to do that. BW from Edmonton writes, it says, just in from Sportsnet, Prime Minister Carney joins the Oilers for morning skate. Did you say on the air? You did say on the air that what you've silenced on your Twitter.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I go into Twitter, and you can mute words. So I go in there, Mark Carney, Pierre Poilievre, Donald Trump. If those tweets, and you guys send that political stuff in my inbox, well, now it shows up, this tweet cannot be displayed unless I click on it. So straight into the junk. I don't see anything if it has those words in it.
I don't send you anything.
No, you don't.
You know, I've stopped, because I'm too nice to tell people, stop sending me shit. So I just ignore it.
How about that?
We do have a show on national television here, watched by a few people, and they're all sending me reels and stuff. I'm like, I don't have time to watch this. So I used to respond to it all with that, or almost put me in the loony bin. So now I don't even respond at all. They keep sending it. Sanderson writes in and says, darts and coffee. What a combo. Yeah. We're not getting into the political stuff. Nice try, everybody. Only one more minute with Darren. Oh, on his Austin Matthews having a down year. Ray in Scarborough, Ontario is watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, whether Austin Matthews had a down year or not, it will all be judged on playoff success. First round elimination, blow it up.
How about that?
Well, let's blow it up when we blow it up. You know what I mean? Let's burn that bridge when we get to it. That is, you know, what does blowing it up look like? You just blew it up. You got a new coach and a GM. You know, I get what you signed your captain to a somewhat long-term deal, making him the highest paid player in hockey. What does that look like? Blowing it up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But let's wait until they have to. Darren, break a leg tonight, man. You're going to be great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, no,
Darren Moose DuPont is... No, you won't. He gone. He's just worried about tonight. He's the MC of the Regina Rams fundraising banquet. Vancouver Canucks fans unite. Jeff Paterson joins us next from RinkWide Vancouver, an overall NHL discussion. And then we'll keep the viewer takeover going to the end of the show. We're live here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts.
Live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour 2 is brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information. EMJmarketing.com. There are some folks saying this is the best day of the year. The round of 64 gets going in March Madness. 16 games. Blue Jays playing the Rays in spring training. The Raptors are at Golden State. It was a dozen NHL games, but as Jeff Paterson will attest, there's only one game you all care about on the West Coast, Jeff. It's the Vancouver Canucks at the St. Louis Blues. And Gary Bettman said yesterday that the play-in tournament's underway. The playoffs are underway in the NHL. Do you feel that with your Vancouver Canucks tied for the final playoff spot with St. Louis and the two meet tonight?
Yeah, I mean, last week they were in Calgary. That was a massive game. On Sunday, they had Utah in and fell flat on their face, but that was a big game. And now the next biggest game of the season is tonight in St. Louis. Two teams tied on 75 points. Winner tonight's going to leave the building with the final wild card spot for at least tonight. Canucks have it by percentage points, but the Blues can leapfrog them. So, yeah, look, what a difference a year makes. Last year, the Canucks were rolling with 50 wins and 109 points. This year, they're right there in that mud puddle around the playoff bar. But if they want to be a playoff team, these are the games that they have to win. So we'll see if they're up to the occasion. Start of a 6-game road trip that probably will determine the outcome of their season.
Does it have the feels, though, Jeff? You've covered a lot of playoffs, Stanley Cup runs for the Canucks. Does it have, not a Stanley Cup feel, but does it have a playoff feel, the vibe out there?
Yeah, absolutely. The other night against Winnipeg, they rose up with what was, if not their best, pretty darn close to their best performance of the season. Building was buzzing. Canucks scored 6 goals, which is incredible because the last time they were in St. Louis, Rod, they beat the Blues 5-2. After that game, they went 16 straight without cresting 3 goals. Like, it's tough to win in the National Hockey League if you're scoring 1 and 2 a night. And that's really been the Canucks story. And then out of nowhere, they scored 6 against Chicago on Saturday, lost to Utah on Sunday, and then exploded for 6 more against the Jets on Tuesday night. So they're feeling good about themselves. Brock Besser scored for the first time in a dozen games. Elias Pedersen showing some signs of life after what's been a really difficult season for him. And Quinn Hughes has played his way through injuries, but he looks healthy, and he's been terrific as well. So, yeah, no, absolutely. Look, just squeezing into the playoffs, that's not what the goal was at the outset of the season, but this is their lot in life now. And so if they want to be a part of the tournament, they have to hold their own down the stretch. So, yes, I think you can feel the significance, the importance in the locker room and just in the market in general.
Does it feel like a decade ago when the Canucks were romping to the Pacific Pennant, the 50 wins that you mentioned? And the obvious question is, what's changed? I mean, we all kind of know the answers. We casually follow the team, the Thatcher Demko injury, the JT Miller situation, all the rest. But what have you seen? Does it seem like a long time ago, and why is it so different a year later?
Yeah, I mean, I think the further we get from it, the more we now realize that last year was a perfect storm. Like, so many guys had career years, and that's just not repeatable. Brock Besser's not a 40-goal scorer. He got to 40 goals last year. Great for him, but he just scored his 20th the other night. I think he's better than he's shown this year. He's not a perennial 40-goal guy. JT Miller had 103 points last year. This year was a write-off, and he's no longer here. The injuries, they were so healthy last year. Niels Höglander scored 24 goals as a depth guy last year, scored his 6th the other night. Dakota Joshua, diagnosed with testicular cancer on the eve of training camp, had a big season last year, got a long-term, big-money contract, and for obvious reasons. And I think he's getting some grace from the hockey club and the market, having gone through what he's gone through. But he's in uniform every night, and he just hasn't been anywhere close to the player he was. So I think in simple terms, last year was a perfect storm. It was a ton of fun. Just about everything went right for the Vancouver Canucks, and that got them to Game 7 of the second round of the playoffs before they fell to the Oilers. You get the regression that I think a lot of us expected. Throw in some injuries, throw in the infighting, the drama that's gone around, and this is where they are. So last year's in the rearview mirror, and now they're fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah. Ted in Red Deer's got a great question that I actually think about myself, but I'll use his words. He says, hey, Jeff, Rick Tocchet behind the bench seems pretty calm and cool, the opposite as the player he was. Am I correct in his coaching style? What do you see there, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, look, Rick has been terrific to deal with, has had some success here. I think this has been a challenging, frustrating year for him, and all those games where he just couldn't squeeze offense. Like a lot of coaches, if you're not scoring, what do? You revert to defending, right? And this is a guy whose entire coaching platform is built on structures and staples, and he's a big buzzword kind of guy, board battles and all those types of things. They've been good defensively. Since Christmas, they really have limited opponents to shots and the goals against, and Kevin Lankinen's been a big part of that, and what a godsend he's turned out to be for this hockey club. But I do think that in recent weeks, we've seen some frustration. The pressure's on. Rick is a guy who is heading into a bit of a uncertainty himself. The club has an option for him next year, but if he's looking for any sort of long-term extension, I think it's important that he gets into the playoffs because they've been low scoring, they've been low event, they haven't been a ton of fun to watch. But through it all, he has maintained, yes, a level of cool and calm that absolutely doesn't reflect. I mean, we all remember Rick Tocchet, the player, just an absolute feared competitor, as tough as they come. We see some signs of that. But yes, I think with age and the fact the game has changed a little bit, I have no doubt, Rod, that he would like a few more guys that are cut from his cloth in his lineup, but that's not who the Vancouver Canucks are. They're not a particularly rugged team. They're not a big team. They try to defend, and on nights when they do it well, they can be successful. But again, the challenge has been to generate a little bit more offense than they have on most nights this season.
Yeah, well, wouldn't every coach like a few more Rick Tocchet's? But, great players make great coaches. I think everybody feels Rick Tocchet is a good coach. He was in Tampa Bay, Arizona, and had, somewhat success in those places. But, let me ask you this. You said some real nice things about Travis Green post his Vancouver time. How do you feel about what he's done in Ottawa? Yeah, I get the sense you're not surprised that he's got the hottest team in March, the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving the fact that all these Canadian teams are, for the most part, above the playoff bar, and a couple here out west, obviously, that are jockeying for this final position. I don't think that you're going to, I mean, there is no way that the Flames and the Canucks can both get in. So it's not going to be across the board. But yeah, from a distance, I've watched Ottawa. I mean, they've got so much top end talent up front, and most of it's young still. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they've been able to take a step here this season. Brady Tkachuk, when we talk about Rick Tocchet type players, Brady Tkachuk would be near the top of the list in terms of, in this modern day playing the way that a guy like Tocchet did back in his career. So, yeah, like I kind of quietly pulling for the Ottawa Senators. They're positioned pretty well now. Tough loss the other night against Montreal, but no, not terribly surprised. They solidified their goaltending, Linus Ullmark, and even when he's been out, they've had a couple others step in there. So, you've been around the game as long as I have, Rod. You got goaltending, you got a chance, and for the most part, the Sens, who in years gone by haven't necessarily had guys they can trust, I think that's been a massive upgrade. They got what they paid for, and Linus Ullmark, and it looks like he is going to deliver them to the playoffs this year.
I am loath to ask you this, and they say you look back, you turn into a pillar of salt. But just the JT Miller, Elias Pedersen thing, like Rich Sutter came on this show, Canucks alum, and said, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it, to all the Vancouver media. But how hard was it to either talk about it or not talk about it, Jeff? You were like in the middle of it as a big Vancouver media name. How sticky was that? And has everything been resolved now that one of them's gone?
Well, we can't stop talking about it because on Saturday, the Canucks are at Madison Square to take on JT Miller and the New York Rangers. So once they get through this St. Louis game, that's going to be the talk of the town all day on Friday. It's going to be setting up that matchup. And I think a couple of Canuck players are, they've already got a dinner set up on Friday night to catch up with Miller. I doubt Elias Pedersen is going to be part of that dinner party. But, hey, you never know. Break some bread, turn a page. Look, 25 years on the job here covering this team in this market, never seen anything like it. And from the outside, I get it. People saying, like, can't these guys are the pros? Just like, you don't have to be best buddies. Just suck it up. You're getting paid millions to play hockey. But it sounded like, and look, marriages break down. It happens. There's irreconcilable differences. These are human beings. And it felt like they got to an impasse where they sat them down as an organization. They tried to patch up differences. They tried to make it work. And I do think some lines were crossed and bridges were burned. And ultimately, one of them had to go. And when Jim Rutherford came out in the Globe late January and basically laid it bare and said, this is causing problems in the locker room. Like, it has now dragged others down. It's not tenable. We can't move forward. Like, when the president of the hockey ops is saying that, then forget the media and what we're saying. This is the guy at the top of the food chain who's basically laying it bare that absolutely, as much as others have denied it, the president's saying, no, it's real, it's happening, and we have to do something about it. So it was wild. At its heat, right before Christmas, like complete chaos around that rink and in this market.
Yeah. It seemed like it. Well, you handled it very well. And before I let you go, please inform our listeners where they can consume your Canucks coverage, because business is booming. I know that, Jeff, where they can look you guys up.
Well, I think selfishly we want them to get in the playoffs because that's the best time of the year, and it'll allow us to continue doing what we do and extend the season here. We do a live stream post-game. We followed in your footsteps, Rod. Branched out, and every night after all 82 games, we do go live on YouTube and having some fun with that, and it's turned into a popular program out here. We've kind of planted our flag in the post-game space. So RinkWide Vancouver, doing a lot of writing at Canucks Army as well, doing a little branding behind me, you can see, and a couple of weekly hits on Sakaris and Price as well. So we got the Canucks covered in a bunch of different spaces, and 14 games to go starting tonight in St. Louis, and then we'll see if there's a few more after that in the way of playoff hockey.
Enjoy the ride, Jeff. Thanks for jumping on as always.
Always good catching up with you. Thanks, Rod.
Jeff Paterson, the former voice, I should mention, of the Memorial Cup champion Kamloops Blazers. That's where we first met and been friends ever since, and it's awesome to be able to get a guy on like that. By the way, Jeff is our only guest today. We had Moose earlier, the regular co-host, and what we've been doing today on what some are calling the biggest day in sports of the year, and I don't believe that it is, but maybe it is. We're doing viewer takeover, whatever you would like to talk about. We can't do it every day because you, as much as I would like to, you can't have birthday cake every day. but it's special when you do. Alex, and we got some new viewers too, by the way. Alex writes in, he's in Barrie. Oh, it's a female. Alex from Barrie, Ontario. She says, I was at the game last night. There was some booing for Austin Matthews getting the first star. Either the ref or Wall deserved it. LOL. Did you watch the game, Clark? Is she right? Okay. Austin Matthews not a deserving first star? It's a tradition in hockey that has been around longer than any of us have, naming the 3 stars. And another tradition is bitching about it. I got to remember that old line. My Dale Mike, you will remember this as a former Montreal Canadiens fan. I got to think about it in the break. Something about the Habs. All 3 stars were Montreal Canadiens in a game in the Forum, and they lost the game 6-2. I'm not sure if it actually happened or if it's a joke. I could see it happening. What do we got here? We're going to take a break in a second here. Note to our producers in Toronto and the Queen City. Bomber Boy says Paul Maurice famously said, show me a good coach and I'll show you a good goalie. Unless you're the 2022 Colorado Avalanche, nothing rings more true in today's NHL. Darcy Kemper's the guy you're talking about. Seems to be doing okay in Washington, although Logan Thompson's winning his share of games. Is that where Darcy Kemper is now? They bounce around so much. I will say this for the CFL fans that assemble. It's why Wally's the winningest coach of all time in the CFL. I said to Wally in a one-on-one interview that aired on this show way back in the first month of our existence. I said, what was your secret, Wally? And he said, great players. Nothing I did as the coach. We had great players. And he credited Roy Shivers largely for finding him the players in Calgary and later BC. We'll be back in a moment. Viewer takeover, whatever the hang you would like to talk about. Plus a sports update for Heavy Jim. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, Our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpeterson.com. As you see, we are broadcasting from Studio 23 as per usual. We're doing viewer takeover in the absence of any ability to focus. We've gone through all of the topics. My sheet of what we talk about is full. The whole bloody page is full. That's a good thing for the sports talk people. I was hearkening back in my mind this morning, this being the 5-year anniversary of COVID, and when we went 3 months without sports. 5 years. A lot has happened in that 5 years. How did we stay on the air every day for 3 months? 5 years ago with no sports to talk about. I guess part of it was because we never knew when it was going to come back, and in some cases it didn't. I will be honest. That's why you're here, right? I think it was a fatal decision for the CFL to not play that season because I think they lost a lot of fans that have not come back. I'll talk about it now because we have talked about everything else today. The CFL Combine's coming up this weekend, and nobody was ever really into it for years. Now, less than ever are. And the poll question today is for our friends at EMJ Marketing. What are you into more, March Madness, the CFL Combine, both or neither? Last I checked, March Madness was leading, and neither was second. Clark, do you have the vote? Would you mind telling me in my ear? What's it at right now on YouTube? Neither's leading. Okay, and now the CFL Combine is second. But as a student of human behavior, I can tell you this. People want to be told what to think. People want to be told what to do. You think you don't, but you do. And TSN in Canada and ESPN in the States have everybody wound up into believing that March Madness is the thing to do. Round of 16 today. Round of 64 gets going today.
How about that?
And with 16 games. Clark's got his bracket filled out. Moose got his bracket filled out. Probably you all got your bracket filled out, but I'm sticking with Montana versus Wisconsin. I know that what are the games going from noon until midnight Eastern today on this day one. So yeah, everybody's into March Madness with schools that we've never even heard of. But I'll say it again, the CFLB, to the point of, I would suggest, their own detriment. And I trepidatiously say that somewhat reluctantly. I got the hat over my one shoulder, the football on the other. Those were gifts from the CFL. But their just absolute allergy to being talked about in the offseason has come back to bite them in the ass. You know, and then here's another one. Well, just hang on. Bomber Boy says the CFL tried every avenue. They couldn't secure the loans or capital to run a season with empty stands. It proved they needed to pursue other revenue streams to supplement the Gates revenue. Whatever it is, bro, I don't care. I'm just telling you, it cost them dearly. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, "Hi, Rod. By the way, all the other leagues found a way to play. Leafs season tickets went up 20%. A pair of cheap seats are now $10,396 a year." Oh, no. From Kirk in Toronto. Panther season tickets have gone up 60%. I know it's not a one-upper conversation, but maybe it is. Jim in Balgoni writes in. He says, "Rod Squad, assemble. Viewer takeover is always a good time. Stop poking the bear on Golf Talk. Rod's head is going to explode. Although it's entertaining to see." Well, to go one step further, I see certain commenters, broadcasters that are ranting and raving, and dare I say, in a lot of ways, making fools of themselves. But in the sake of entertainment, that's what they do. I'm not going to name names. I'm talking political commentators, sports commentators, some of them. And I used to be that guy. I've got a lot of people saying, you need to go back and be that guy. I posted a photo today to some of our social media channels of Duron Carter holding up the Bo Levi Shut Your Mouth t-shirt that was gained so much notoriety back in 2017. But it ticked so many people off in this. Just as many people hated it in the CFL as loved it. People were mad at me. Do I wish I hadn't? Doesn't really matter now because I did say that. Spawned the t-shirt campaign. So basically, I get out of the CFL. A lot of people didn't like me there. And then you have people say, "Oh, really miss you." Really? Doesn't feel like it. From the sports update for Heavy Jim, Rachel Homan's Canadian rink has clinched a playoff spot at the World Women's Curling Championships in South Korea. The defending champs posted a 7-6 extra end victory over Switzerland and an 11-2 win over Japan. Homan's team is tied for second at 8-2 with Sweden and South Korea. Switzerland leads at 9-1 with 2 playoff spots still up for grabs. Meanwhile, all 7 Canadian NHL teams hit the ice tonight. Montreal visits the Islanders. Ottawa entertains Colorado. And Toronto takes on the Rangers in New York. Calgary heads east to face New Jersey. Vancouver meets St. Louis. Later, Winnipeg and Edmonton clash in the Alberta capital with the Oilers center Leon Draisaitl entering the matchup on 49 goals. The Toronto Raptors look to end their Western road trip on a high note tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Toronto opened the stretch with a victory in Utah before back-to-back losses in Portland and Phoenix. The Raptors are currently 11th in the NBA's East with 24 wins. They return home Sunday to host San Antonio. Meanwhile, Canada's national men's soccer team meets Mexico in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinal tonight in L.A. A win would put the 31st ranked Canadians in Sunday's final against the U.S. or Panama. And the Toronto Blue Jays take on the Tampa Bay Rays in spring training action in Dunedin, Florida today. The Jays are coming off Tuesday's 8-2 defeat to the Baltimore Orioles. The Jays open the MLB season March 27th at home against the O's. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. Okay, we will turn it over to you one final time when we come back for overtime after this. Whew, do I need to run down all of the comments here? All of the topics? Because I can, but I'd like to hear from you. On the Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033. Switch to Progressive, and you can save a bunch. We'll be back in a moment here on Game Plus TV, streaming and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, we got a whopping segment here in overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. That means a lot of time for you and me, so I'm going to say it again. 902-518-3033 for Progressive Insurance. Back to that comment from Ray, who was watching in Scarborough, Ontario. And it was interesting that Moose kind of went down that line of thinking with Austin Matthews that he's had a down year. And then I'll talk to you more about Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary in a second. Tough when you raise the bar, isn't it? Austin Matthews had the greatest goal-scoring season in Leafs history. This year, he's over a point a game, but he's not where he was last year, and people are mad. Ray says, whether Austin Matthews had a down year or not, we will all be judged on playoff success. First-round elimination, blow it up. Oh, my God. See, that is what's tough about following the Leafs and Leafs fans. You just did blow it up. What does that look like? You have a new general manager-ish. You do have a new coach in Craig Berube. We all sit there and wait for the playoffs. You got a very good goaltender in Joseph Wall. I didn't have the game on my television last night, but I followed the stats. It looked like they goal-lead the Colorado Avalanche last night, and Austin Matthews scored. So, oh, yeah. The playoffs can't get here quick enough. At least you have a chance. I often think the Dallas Cowboys are like the NFL's Toronto Maple Leafs, but we know it's over. We know it's over. For as long as this guy owns the team. Allie in Texas says, don't forget to hit the like button, y'all.
Bingo!
Thank you, Allie, for the reminder. For those that are watching on YouTube.
Yeah, don't get me going on golf. They've brought up flag football. You want to talk about an absolute dog's breakfast of things going on. It's one thing for games. I'll say it again. 3, 6, 9. It's 14 NHL games tonight. As if that's not enough. Blue Jays and the Rays playing. Raptors, Warriors. March Madness round of 64. And then this news, the Boston Celtics are being sold for what would be a record-setting initial valuation of $6.1 billion to a group led by Symphony Technology Group, managing partner William Chisholm. The sale, if approved by the NBA's Board of Governors after a thorough vetting process, would be the richest in U.S. major pro sports history. That process likely would not be completed until the summer at the earliest. The $6.1 billion valuation would break the mark set when a group led by Josh Harris bought the NFL's Washington Commanders for $6.05 billion back in 2023. To the NCAA, Duke freshman star Cooper Flagg says he'll be ready to play today's March Madness opener against Mount St. Mary's as he recovers from a sprained ankle. Flagg rolled his left ankle during the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament quarterfinals and missed the Blue Devils' wins in the semifinals and title game. That sent Duke into March Madness with a #1 seed in the East Region bracket. Cooper said he has returned to full practice and hated every second of being sidelined. Duke's opener against 16-seed Mount St. Mary's is one of 6 first-round games in the East on Friday. I do have friends, A.J. Jakovic being one. Clark, you might want to put A.J.'s name down as a guest for next week. He's been to these Final Fours, regional tournaments. Dallas comes to mind. It's the time of his life. I'm sure it is amazing to see live. And I'm sure by the time this thing gets rolling a few days in, I will be riding the crest of it. But when this is done here today, I got to go write an NHL column for the South Florida Tribune. So we all have what we're into. Placeline, Tampa. More than 800 women filled the concourse inside Raymond James Stadium on the first Friday morning in March for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' inaugural She Is Football weekend. They heard from Buccaneers co-owner Darcy Glazer-Kasowitz, NFL executive Dasha Smith, and various female leaders across many industries participating in a full-day summit featuring small group breakout sessions and watched a live recording of the Calm Down with Aaron and Carissa podcast. Featuring NFL reporters Aaron Andrews and Carissa Thompson. The 2-day event was the latest example of the Buccaneers' dedication to opening more doors and increasing opportunities for women in the NFL. Overtime is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Achieve your hockey goals where skill and fun collide. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Cowtown, 28th Street, Northeast, Calgary. We're also brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. We do have a note from the Western Hockey League that John in Edmonton has written in 167 times about. I'm just calling it up here. This is an instance, just so you know, where the Western Hockey League could use the media's help in getting their word out. We have asked to put some people on this show from their office and got a no. Anyways, Placeline, Calgary, Alberta. Victory Plus, the premier sports streaming service owned by Western Canadian tech company, Apparent Media Company, and the leading free ad-supported streaming service for live and on-demand sports content, is proud to announce a groundbreaking multi-year deal with the Western Hockey League. The deal will see the WHL regular season and playoff games streamed for free on Victory Plus, starting with this year's playoffs. This will be the first time in the WHL's history that their games will be available to stream for free to fans around the world, marking a new chapter in the accessibility of live sports. And I skimmed down here. Here's the quote from Neil Gruninger, president and CEO of Apparent Media Company. I spent my youth, which owns Victory Plus. That's the name you need to remember. He says, I spent my youth cheering for the WHL team in my community, so it's been a personal milestone for me to help bring junior hockey to a new generation of fans. It's a privilege to be working alongside WHL leadership and owners who share our fan-first vision. This is a major step in our mission to make sports content more accessible to fans everywhere, and we're excited to build on the amazing work already being done to shine a spotlight and grow the world of junior hockey. So we wish them well. We wish them well. They had been obviously charging for their streaming for years. They had been on Shaw Television. Moose and I were both part of those broadcasts back in the day. And it would be nice if they had a television deal now, but this is a different world we live. There is no Shaw anymore. So this is a different world. Colin in Ottawa writes in and he says, I see that the CBC is running on their website's front page an article entitled, Is Tim Hortons Really Canadian? Glad to know that our national broadcaster knows what is really important. Well, Colin, I told you this the last time you brought up the CBC. Don't watch it, don't read it, but there you are going on their website to complain about it. So that's on you, bro. Having said that, I did have this conversation with my sponsor yesterday, Bob, and we kicked this around. The Tim Hortons that I know in the Queen City are owned by some very good friends of mine. They're called franchises. So way to go, CBC, trying to take Tim Hortons down the toilet. Sure, they took the company over from the Horton family years ago. It's American-held majority. Go there or don't go there. But I don't care what the CBC's reporting, and haven't for a real long time. Regarding the Victory Plus deal, Ali in Texarkana says Victory Plus is the future of sports streaming. The Stars being on Victory Plus has been the best thing to happen to the Stars in a long time, to Stars fans. Rich in Edmonton says, has WHL hired people from the CFL PR office? It's been fun, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for a Football Friday.
Let's go beat up DuPont.